Greetings and salutations, fellow humans. It's the 24th of May, 2026, and I am Thaddeus Satori. In this, Chapter 4, I want to share some thoughts on either becoming self-sufficient and or locally independent with something that we all take for granted, electricity. If my memory serves, twice in my early travels I stayed in small, remote villages in Southeast Asia, and they were powered by diesel generators. At 11 p.m., these were shut down and it was lights out for everyone. Refrigerators and freezers had enough insulation to do their jobs without power for a few hours, and honestly, it was no big deal. Then a few years ago, I watched the east coast of Australia go through power outages and shortages, and I heard almost no one talk about reducing overall usage in the long term. Now, we have AI companies getting sweetheart deals to set up unwanted data centers using massive amounts of shared water and electricity, and then sticking us with the tab. In spite of all the blind optimism, I think Mother Nature is going to have a say in this matter. We sometimes joke that the ruling class would sell us the air if it were possible, and that I do believe. Remember, with them, and a significant percentage of people for whom their programming has worked, enough is never possible. Shit, even poor people steal from each other. But for some perspective on the hoarding of incredible wealth and the psychopathy therein, one way to get your head around the numbers is this. 1 million minutes ago would take us back only about 2 years. 1 billion minutes, about 2,000 years. It's clearly not about having enough, but the game itself. My favorite book by Stephen King is titled The Stand, and it begins with a super flu created by the U.S. military that escapes into the world and kills over 99% of the population. From there, it tells elaborate stories about the survivors who coalesce into two groups, one into a cooperative community and the other into a dictatorship. But the thing that I had never even considered before was the demand for people who could get the lights back on, engineers. In the past, we didn't have the technology to localize electricity production, so we naturally did it from massive centralized sources and transmitted it over countless miles of copper cables suspended by huge, ugly towers. Not just inefficient and susceptible to weather, climate, and sabotage, it also requires massive investments of our pooled resources, aka taxes, to build and maintain the entire infrastructure. The good news is that we now have the technology to put our eggs into ever smaller baskets. The bad news is that we can't rely on our state and federal taxes to help us out. Some psycho took a chainsaw to that. Think of the shareholders, man. If you have the money, I would suggest that you put up a windmill and install solar panels for your home. Though you may live in a place where you can sell your surplus back to the grid, you might want to look into hooking up your neighbors and selling it directly to them, perhaps in exchange for something actually tangible. Organize your neighborhoods and communities to pool resources and build up a local infrastructure. Then, when the grid does go down, you won't be left completely in the dark, and it won't require an engineering degree to keep the lights on. You may not generate enough power to supply a large factory, but you will have plenty to get you through the daylight hours and into the night. Go to sleep. Trust me, it's better to have at least a limited period of electricity than to have none at all. I really don't want anyone to be worried here, and I'm not trying to be a Chicken Little. My goal is simply to wake people up. If you agree that a profound and inevitable transition is on the horizon, and you want to be prepared, please take heed and start insulating yourselves now. Learn basic skills and start building communities. From my limited vantage point, everything appears to be cyclic, and it looks to me like we are coming back around to smaller communities of cooperation from whence we came. But if you believe that this party will go on forever, that technology will somehow save us, and that you can go it alone, by all means, ignore what I have to say. Lord knows I've been wrong about a lot of things in my life. Let's hope this is yet another. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for listening. Cheers.